On behalf of all assembled here today, should now like to invite our newest alumnus, Dr. Aubrey Dan, to address Convocation.
Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, honored graduates, guests, and colleagues on this distinguished platform. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to acknowledge and thank my wife, Marla, my daughter, Elise, my son, Miles, as well as some of my longtime friends that are joining me today. I am humbled and honored to have been selected to receive the Honorary Doctorate of Laws degree on this stage with so many friends that I admire and respect. The Chancellor would be Jack Cowan, the President, Amit Chakma, the Dean of Social Sciences, Bob Anderson, and the former Director of the Dan Department of Management and Organization. Now, I've never attended my undergraduate ceremony. When I completed my Bachelor of Administrative and Commercial Studies in 1985, I was too much in a hurry to get to work and apply my education working in my family's business, Novofarm, a generic pharmaceutical company, as a sales rep. It seems I've always been in a hurry all my life, trying to accomplish as much as I could, even as a child. And still to this day, I have a sense of urgency of maximizing my impact in a positive manner. My life's ambition is to help people find their own human potential. Western was not my first choice when I selected universities back in high school. I chose to go to McMaster as I thought getting a commerce degree was more important. However, after my first year, I found that the university wasn't really a good fit for me. My friends were going to Western, and I enrolled in a relatively new program called Administrative and Commercial Studies, ACS, in the Faculty of Social Sciences, with about a couple hundred students, not 3,000. Now, I really liked that the ACS was in the social sciences, focusing on the people side of the business. Besides, according to Playboy magazine, at that time, the women are among the best in North America. And obviously, they still are. I really wasn't concerned about academics. I just wanted to get a degree in business that I could apply in real life to help me pursue my desire to get an education. Going to Western turned out to be the best choice I ever made in my life, even though it was only for 2 years. Long before Western coined the phrase, the Western experience, for its students today, it was my approach going to university in the early 80s. I learned in my economics class the diminishing rate of marginal return, where I could shoot for my marks to be about a 70% average, good enough to do well, yet still enough time to work part-time and enjoy all the wonder facilities on and off campus. I actually did the math and knew that if I tried to raise my marks by 10%, it would take at least 30% more effort and time. That 10% sacrifice in marks was used towards my university education. I also knew that if I decided to pursue my MBA, the opportunity cost was over $100,000 at that time. I knew that I would rather work in my family business or be an entrepreneur and make more money. So that's what I did. I went to work right after completing my undergrad and never looked back. I attended one homecoming after graduation. Occasionally, I would go to London to meet with customers, especially at the head office of big fee pharmacies, having nothing to do with Western, as I moved onwards with my life. Years later, in around 2004, I received an email that the president of Western, so Paul Davenport, and Ted Gerard, the vice president of external affairs, wanted to meet with me in my office. Now, I wasn't on the radar or even approached from the alumni as a potential donor, so I never donated to the university. Paul and Ted wanted to know if I would make a $100,000 donation towards a chair, which I agreed to do. Since I had a positive experience at Western, I thought it was a really nice thing to donate and give back. They gave me an update on the program of how the ACS program had grown to 1,800 students, and there were several new specialty modules. Now it represented 30% of the Faculty of Social Sciences, and frankly, I was quite impressed with how the program had grown so much since I graduated. Then they asked one question that completely changed my relationship from that moment onwards, and still to this day. My question was, why don't you change the name of the program from Administrative and Commercial Studies to Management and Organizational Studies? Administrative sounded so secretarial, and commercial was only relevant to me when used for real estate. The response by Paul was that he wasn't sure if the university would accept the name change due to the potential conflict with the Richard Ivey School of Business. Now, it took me almost 2 years to convince Paul to make the name change along with a negotiated agreement in February 2006 of a $5 million donation, putting my money where my mouth was, making the change to rename it. It originally was called the Aubrey Dan Program of Management and Organization and has changed several times to MOS, BMOS. So all of a sudden, I went from a speed of 0 to 100 miles an hour with my involvement with Western. As I saw this as an investment, that my name was on it, and I was going to make sure that the return on investment, ROI, was going to pay off in spades. Not in a monetary manner, but on its impact on the students, faculty, and university. I believed the more one gave, the more one received. You ask, why would I make such a large gift? My biggest ever at that time. I regularly use the skill sets that I learned in ACS every day that helped shape my success. I learned that it didn't matter what business or organization that I was involved in, that the most important aspect was people and communications. I believe that if my endowment gift would be successful, I personally would need to have input into how it was managed and executed, as it would become the jet fuel to help propel it to the next level. It became the gift that kept on giving. Most importantly, it was the investment that would help create the future leaders of Canada and internationally. So over the past 12 years, I've had the pleasure to meet thousands of students who have graduated what is now the Dan Department of Management and Organizational Studies. I have handed out hundreds of scholarship awards to the top students, met with faculty, and got to know all the levels of the university administration. That is a dream come true. I've been welcomed with open arms, especially when I would challenge the status quo on how the department could be better, making the Western experience even greater, strengthening the Dan and Western brand globally. Now the Dan department has more than 3,000 students and still growing. It represents a little more than 50% of the social sciences, 10% of all the undergraduates at the university. Half the students from Hong Kong take Dan management. The growth and the engagement level has been amazing. There are courses now being taught in Hong Kong and the Netherlands. The success of the students that graduate from Dan management is having a positive impact in many organizations, as their skill sets that they have learned are considered to be valuable in the areas of finance, accounting, human resources, marketing, and commercial aviation. I am so proud of their accomplishments. This past December 2017, I doubled down my investment with another $5 million endowment gift for more than $10 million in total to create 3 new research chairs. It was Bob Anderson, the Dean of Social Sciences, who helped me to appreciate how an investment into research would have a global impact on the standings for Western. The first research chair is a joint chair with the Faculty of Law and Corporate Governance. The second is for consumer behavior, and the third, the last chair, is for innovation and change. There's also a distinguished lecture series where most recently Dick Pound from the IOC was the first guest lecturer. What I wanted in exchange was a new module called Management and Legal Studies, which was overwhelmingly accepted, that will officially start in September 2019. If I were to take my education over again, I would take this module. I've spent far too much tuition with various lawyers over the years, and having this background and knowledge and understanding in business would have made negotiation deals easier. So, I am so excited about the future of the Dan department, as together we have so much more to accomplish in the years to come. We've just begun to scratch the surface. So what are the major takeaways from my speech? What did I learn from my Western experience? Never forget where you came from and pay it forward to the person coming behind you. Change is welcome as long as it's thoughtful and benefits the organization as a whole, not for one selfish purpose. Have a vision and live that vision. Challenge the status quo. Find a better way. Put your money where your mouth is. Don't talk, do. Life is long. So if change doesn't happen immediately, be patient. But keep at it and don't stop, ever. Work smart, not hard, just because it sounds good. By helping others to grow, you help yourself grow too. Don't be shy. Ask a lot of questions, seeking the best answers. Believe in your ability to make a difference. Even if it's small, it may have a ripple effect. Commit, and then commit even more when you're making a positive change for others. So in conclusion, there are so many people that I want to thank at Western, as I truly value my relationships, past, present, and future. Anthony D'Angelo said, "Develop a passion for learning. If you do, you will never cease to grow."